Everybody got a glimpse of your new pretty dress there.
I know, right?
Okay. We are streaming live around the universe, everywhere in the universe.
I am Linda Deer, and this guy right here.
Ray Holly, the research director for LindaDeer.com.
And Linda's Weekly Guided Insights.
Right.
In these insights, Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, tonight we're going to be talking about intuition is natural, not supernatural. I speak to you from your intuitive side, and Ray speaks to you when we talk about this, when we collaborate. He talks about it from being in this world. Okay, so I come from the world you came from, and Ray is coming from the world we're in. And together, Ray and I bring these together so you learn how to live in two worlds, remain present, and have access to the most valuable thing you can find: intuition, guidance, your guides. You guys are never alone and always being guided. Okay, so today, and once again, we love being with you guys on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, right here on my Facebook page, my Facebook timeline, and my YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Pacific time every week. Okay? So welcome to episode number 277 of Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, a weekly gift of guidance from my spirit guides on navigating the uncertain world that you are now living in. Published since 2014, every Tuesday since 2014. So these are in their 6th year. Tonight, the guides will be talking about intuition is natural, not supernatural. The takeaway from this week's episode is you will stop making a big deal out of intuition and start tuning into it. Intuition is a sixth sense that everyone has, but few acknowledge it. Applying your intuition is decision-making without reasoning, the opposite of logical justification. You were born with this ability to know what to do and when to do it, which is why intuition is natural and not supernatural. The only thing that makes it supernatural is people forgot. Okay? That's the only thing that makes it something bigger than life when it's just really what's going on. Intuitive messages come through feelings or an unexpected physical response to a particular situation. Like when you blurt something out that catches even you by surprise. This is evidence that intuition comes through you and not from you. That's called discernment. You get an intuitive hit and you go, wow, I never even expected that. I never thought about that. That didn't come from you, you guys. That came through you, from guidance, from where you came from those who followed you here into this life to see that you achieve what you came here to do. That's why they're here. That's why your guides were assigned to you. And by the way, you would have never signed up for this lifetime or any lifetime without their support. They're with you all the time. So start using it, okay? So I want to just, last point. I'm only reading a few excerpts out of the insights. Get these insights. Go to my website, lindadeer.com, and sign up for Linda's Weekly Guided Insights. Stress gets in the way of your ability to receive intuition. Okay, I want to bring this up. Last year we had the pandemic, the virus, right? And some people got the virus. I'm not saying that people didn't get it, but most people didn't get it. But you know what everyone got? What did they get, right?
Fear.
No, they got stress.
They got stress.
Yeah, and stress gets in the way of your ability to receive intuition. So last year, and even this year, It carried over. This thing about stress, cut it out. Find a way to deal with your stress. Even I have to work on that because of all this stuff that's going on, right? I mean, we're all humans, okay, and we all have a certain degree of something that we have to work out. But if you let stress get in the way, your intuition is going to suffer. So if you cannot relax, you will block the reception. It's like a radio receiver without an antenna. All you will get is static. So you might be trying to connect with your intuition. You may have been writing in your journal, trying to bring it through, but the stress, if it's overwhelming, you can't even think straight. So whatever it takes to work out that stress, I'd say stress is a bigger problem by far than anything that's happened in the last year and a half.
It's become pretty much the root cause of 90% of diseases.
It has, Ray.
And if people want to find out all the things about the different kinds of stress, was it last week or the week before the session was on stress?
The stress pandemic.
There you go.
It was last week. The that's the real pandemic.
Right.
If people go to see their doctors, I guarantee you that most of it, 95% of it or more, is stress related, not a flu related thing. It's stress. And what this whole thing has done to people's stress levels, okay? That's another reason it's really important to use these journals to write out what's bothering you. Get that stress off your chest by pouring it onto the pages. Once you put it onto the pages, it's out of here. Now you can examine it from out here. You can see it objectively. You're not part of the problem. You can't fix a problem when you're in it. Okay? You can't do that. You've got to see it out there so you can have a perspective on it, especially with yourself. And then your intuition lights right up.
Can't break your stress pattern. Also, if you keep expecting more of the same kind of stress.
Okay, explain that.
Some people think, well, I made an investment. Well, is that investment really going to pay off? Did I do the right thing?
Second guessing, gambling,
yeah, it's gambling and
risk taking. That's ridiculous.
Greed.
Oh, definitely. Oh, most importantly, lack.
Right.
Lack. Many times it's not somebody who's feels greedy. They're fearful that they won't have enough for next week or next year
Or the rest of their life.
or for their kids. They're scared. They lost their job. Oh my God, and they let all that control them instead of breathing, instead of writing down what's bothering you, instead of gaining control, taking charge of your life and remaining open, refusing to let fear consume you. Fear and doubt take over and ruin your intuition. Which is natural. You guys were born with this intuition. You came in with perfect, stellar intuition until the people in this world started trying to mold you and telling you, oh, you saw a ghost, or you heard grandma's been dead for 10 years. You heard grandma tell you something and this is what she said. Where did that kid get that information? How could that kid know that? They doubted everything the kid did or said because they doubt themselves. It's called projection, you guys. The world that you came into projected all this onto you, the real you. And guess what happened to the real you? It retreated. It did the smart thing. It said, oh my God, what happened here? I'm out of here. Okay. And what remained was a shadow of yourself. Certainly not something that could trust itself because you were not present. And certainly something that could not be brilliant enough to capture intuition. You're not present. Of course, you're not even here. A shell of you is here in order to get by from the pressure that's put on you once you arrive. That's what messed you up.
Okay, so what's the defining definition? That's kind of a repetitive concept, but between what's natural and what's supernatural. I mean, I'm sure there's probably two groups out there that one of them believe that intuition is natural, and the other group doesn't believe it's natural.
Okay, when Ray asked me that question, get my book guided. You can read it or listen to it. I even did it in audiobook format, read it myself. And it talks about this whole journey through intuition, mostly through trusting myself and keeping my guidance to myself and writing in my journal, starting at 7 years old, about what was going on. And once it was on the pages in my journal writing, I could understand it. Now, not the moment I wrote it down, I didn't understand it. But when I looked back at it a week later, and I looked back at what I wrote, I saw the solutions. I didn't see problems. I only saw problems before I wrote it down. I was scared. I was terrified from the people in this world and what they were doing and pulling on me. Okay. The first 8 chapters, 28 chapters and guided, are harrowing. It was an abusive childhood that I got through from journal writing. And when I got out on my own at 16 years old, from then on, my life took off. I was an instant success because of how I learned what I learned through the journal writing, what I learned about myself, how I learned to trust myself, know what to do and when to do it. You guys, that's where it's at. Hook back into your intuition. Start journal writing about where you doubt yourself and feel fear. Throw it on the pages, get it out of here. And then you can start having control over your life and see things for what they are. And best of all, your intuition will shine. Okay. But you know how you're going to develop that? You're going to keep it to yourself. You're going to write it in your journal and you're going to keep the intuition, the guidance to yourself while you're in, especially while you're in the early stages of 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 bringing yourself back into this world without being so fearful of what's going to happen when you do it. And that part of you retreats again. That's what happened. That part of you retreated. Just a piece of you. You're dragging a leg through this life. Only part of you is here. It's time to bring it all back, you guys, because that's when the fun really begins. That's when you start enjoying your life. That's why you came here. You came here. When you first came here, you were so excited to come here. And then once you encountered what was here, it was like, what was I thinking? That's where your intuition, you retreated. Okay. It's time to come back.
All right, getting back to the two camps, believers, not believers. It's either natural or it's supernatural. Most of the things the articles I looked up said it's supernatural if you can't explain it
That's right.
using
That's good.
laws, theories, natural laws. Uh, but is that true? Or the other report said it's only supernatural if there's some kind of divine intervention. Now, you never expect divine intervention. Oh, today I'm going to have some divine intervention.
You don't expect, by the way, you don't expect just divine intervention to happen. You don't even expect intuition to happen. It just happens.
Yeah, it
Okay.
just
And
happens.
you just have to be present. So when it happens, you catch it. It's yours. You got it. You nailed it. Then the next thing you do, the very next thing you do is you write it down so you don't forget it, because intuition is like having a dream. You wake up and you go, wow, I had this dream. Very cool. By the time you get in and out of the bathroom, you forgot it.
Right.
You got to write it down, you guys.
Okay, getting back to intuition, can we And we safe to say that intuition is a sense.
Yes.
It's like a sixth sense.
Yes.
And everybody has it.
Yes.
But everybody doesn't realize they have it.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's because people forgot who they are. The only reason they don't realize they have it is only part of them are here. Like I said before, the part of you that's the real part of you, when you encountered this world, retreated. Okay. And it's time to bring this back. And the way you bring it back, I got to interject, is this part of you, not the world, but you in the world, has to cool down, has to learn to get more gentle, has to not be so reactive and um, so uh, frightened, so
yeah.
fearful in this world. So shut down. If that's what you're doing, the real part of you, the best part of you, has no business returning into your life, and it knows better. It won't do it until you get a handle on you. Once that starts to happen, this starts to come back ever so gently. And you know how you do it? You start writing down what's dysfunctional in here, what doesn't make sense. Why am I doing that? Why is that happening? Write it in here, and pretty soon this gets stronger but softer, so this can return.
All right. So, am I right in saying that intuition and instincts are like cousins?
Yeah.
One's it's a sense too.
Instincts is more of an animal thing. It's
a
more
response, an immediate response.
It's a fight or flight type of thing. I mean, everyone knows they have instincts. Everyone knows they have intuition. They're just not sure how to apply it or how to access it. Okay, where instincts is just something like if something's going to bite you, your instinct tells you to get away from it. Okay, intuition is something that it could also be intuition that gives you a warning that it's going to happen.
Exactly. When you're hiking somewhere and there's rattlesnakes like Arizona, okay?
Right.
Your instinct would tell you got to be careful in this forest or on this trail with
right.
the rattlesnakes. Okay?
But then you're walking along.
Well, that's intuition.
No, that's in let's explain it. You're walking along and you're aware that there's snakes out there, right?
Right.
So you wore the right shoes and everything like that, and you're walking along, and then all of a sudden you have a feeling. Whoa! You have that's intuition. You have a feeling. It comes to you. Okay. Instinct is when you know that something is there, and you've got to do something to respond. It's an animal instinct.
Right.
It's more of a primal thing, where intuition it's primal as well, but it's more sophisticated.
It's an immediate action.
It's something you just know.
You don't think about it. There's no reasoning in the instinct part. You hear a rattle, and
it's self-preservation.
You get out of there.
Instincts usually come from self-preservation.
Right.
Where if you have self-preservation interfacing with your intuition, it'll foul it up, because it doesn't work like that. It works from just being present, not being on edge, expecting something. In fact, it's the opposite, expecting nothing, and then you receive this intuition.
Okay, Vanessa made a good point here. She said, intuition's so natural, it's like breathing. But we don't always recognize it. A lot of people have been taught that you need to work really, really hard to make things happen in your life, and they don't recognize it. If you just listen to your intuition, things are easier. Now,
that's right.
One thing they gave as an example of something supernatural happening is there's a car accident and somebody's pinned under a car. And you hear these stories all the time. A person went over there and lifted the car.
Super strong.
Supernatural.
Right.
That's supernatural. Now, that was an instinct for them to immediately jump into action and do that.
Especially when the woman was 98 years old.
Yeah,
and
she lifted up
70 pounds.
Yeah, there she lifted up. Now, here's my observation.
It happens too.
is it instinctual? I mean, it's instinctual to help, but lifting the car off the person, how do you know that you're the one lifting the car off the person?
You are not. You are not. You are definitely getting help.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
whether you believe in it or not.
It has nothing to do with what you think, believe in, what you know or not. You're an instrument
Yeah,
for
you,
divinity. You're divine. You were there and they put you into service. Bam. And there you performed on it. Maybe you didn't even remember what you did until it was over. I've had that happen many, many times where I look back and go, whoa, that happened. It happened. The moment I took this photograph of my spirit guide uh, in December of 1988, showed up in the room bigger than life, and everyone was in the room, and I had my Nikon camera in hand. Film days, 1994. Took their photograph. I call them they because they don't see themselves as a single unit. They see themselves as one with everything, everyone, and the universe. Okay, and they are multiples. Okay, um, and when I was done taking the picture and they dissipated, not one person in the room saw it. I didn't even bother explaining what just happened. What that's like speaking Chinese to an Englishman. What's the point, right? So this stuff happens all the time, you guys. And the more awake you are, the more present you are. The more present you are, that is the key to your highest and most efficient intuition is your ability to remain present, not swinging off your center and staying present as you can be, no matter what happens. In fact, the more radical things get, the more present you can be, the more spot on you're going to nail it.
right? There's some absolutely phenomenal YouTube videos of a person crossing the street and didn't see a truck coming and things like that, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a light being shoots out from where materializes, shoots out, and pushes the person over
Right,
across to the other
right,
side of the street.
right.
Now, that is visual proof that number A, you're always being guided. There's somebody, more than one somebody's around you all the time. And
That's right.
even if you don't believe them, doesn't matter. They're there to help you lift that car, to get you out of trouble.
I want to say this. Intuition, this is the whole point to this. Quit making a big deal out of intuition. Make calling it supernatural. It's as natural as the day you were born. There's not a supernatural thing about it. It's you came in with this equipment. And I'll tell you what you do. You write down in your journal those unusual, like Ray's talking about, something like Ray's talking about, just everyday unusual and out of the ordinary situations that happen. They happen every single day. You guys have to stop missing it. Write them in your journal. Even if it sounds like something you made up, write it down. You will know if you made it up once you review what you wrote a day or two or a week later. Then you're going to know. You're going to see how much you are full of it. You're making intuition into supernatural type of spectacular events when they're as natural as breathing, just like Vanessa said. It's as natural as breathing, you guys. She couldn't have said it better. That's in fact as a result of learning how to breathe and breathe. Ride a bike, do an elliptical machine, do a treadmill, get yourself breathing again,
Right.
and your intuition will pop right open.
Yeah. What?
It's not supernatural. It's as natural as the day you were born.
Here's a question for Linda Deer. When you saw your your guides, your light being guides, for the first time when you were 20 months old when they first appeared, and in 1994 when one showed up right in the middle of the room, did you think that was a supernatural experience?
No, I never did. I never thought of any of it. I never looked at. I'll tell you, from 20 months old when my mother almost killed me, and they showed up all around me, calm, tall, light. telepathically communicating with this 20-month-old child. I remembered them. It had only been 20 months since I was with them. Okay, so I wasn't separate from them. They made more sense to me than anything in this world. This world was too much, okay? When so while in this world from that horrendous moment, and they showed up to rescue me in the sense that they reminded me of who I was. I remembered myself. I wasn't afraid anymore. I knew I wasn't alone. I knew they followed me here. I knew I was being guided. And I had to, throughout my life, and this is what I learned, is I had to keep this to myself. I mean, you guys, I didn't even write this book, start writing it until I was 60 years old. That's a long time to keep my secrets. I kept those secrets on purpose. I kept those secrets because I was in this world. I still didn't trust coming out yet, telling the whole thing, the tell all, until I was 60 years old. And then I just knew. I sat down one day. They told me at that point for 18 years, write the book, Linda, write the book, write the book. Okay, the guides did. And I just sat down one day. Again, I didn't make a big deal out of it. I didn't feel like it was a big deal. It was just time. I sat down and I started typing out on my computer my true life story. I had no idea it would be the book they told me I was going to write. The book when they showed up in 94 and I had a dream 2 weeks later and they told me, we appeared so the world could believe. You're going to write a best-selling book about your relationship with us, since you were a little girl. I didn't know that was the book until I got to chapter 9. There's 28 chapters in Guided. And then I went, oh my God. In other words, what I'm trying to say to you, even I can't see it when I'm in it. You can't see it when you're in it. Write it down. I wrote it down. It came out with this book. I mean, so you guys could learn how to do this, okay? So there's a bigger plan than us. Bigger, much bigger than us individual units, okay? They know that. They don't see themselves as an individual unit. They see themselves as one with everything and everyone. That's intelligence, you guys. That's what intuition is. It's the maximum intelligence. And when you're on, you can't miss. You cannot miss in your life. You even if it doesn't make sense at the time. I'm telling you, when you get the intuition and follow it, that's the key right there. Most people, they go, oh, it feels too risky. Well, they are really cut off from who they are if they're saying things like that. But that's what most people are saying.
Yeah, Vanessa made another good point here that most people uh, need confidence work. Most people lack confidence. I mean, if you ask somebody to sit down and write down on a piece of paper everything that you're confident about, they probably couldn't come up with more
Or
than that.
that you love about yourself.
Right.
That you appreciate about yourself. That's how you find your confidence. Where does my confidence reside? What the heck does it mean? Okay, start writing down what you feel good about yourself about, and then write down what you don't feel good about yourself about. The stuff you don't feel good about yourself about will actually, it's like fear. It's a lie. You were taught that. You were programmed for that. You were not appreciated for who you are long enough where you actually started to believe it. And that needs to be healed. And when you heal that, when you take those gentle steps once a day, 15 minutes a day, to write down what's going on in here, okay, you're going to find it. And you won't be in panic mode when you do. You're going to learn to gain control over your life and gain self-mastery over your life. Okay, you guys. Great session. I love this session on the intuition. It's just, oh, okay. So I've got one announcement. All right. And then we're going to close the session with the guides closing message about Intuition is natural, not supernatural. So join us next Tuesday, April 13th, for episode number 278 of Linda's Weekly Guided Insights. Again, you can sign up for these insights by going to my website, Linda's Weekly Guided Insights. With me, Ray, and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time on my Facebook page, Facebook timeline, and YouTube channel. Use the search term Linda Deer. In Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, my spirit guides will be talking about tragedies and setbacks. The takeaway from next week's episode is tragedy has been in the news a lot lately. A tragedy can affect an individual, a family, a city, or an entire country. Look what's been going on. Tragedies come in all forms. It's a tragedy when somebody someone loves passes on. They will miss that person's light in this world. These tragedies and setbacks are part of everyone's life. It's not about tragedies and setbacks. It's about how we deal with them, okay? And how present we can be while we're moving through them. It's presence, you guys. So we're going to do the closing message today. And if my work has helped you in any way, share what we did today with your like-minded friends. Tell them just have them go to my website. Right there on the homepage, it pretty much explains what this is all about. Okay. Okay, so intuition. Intuition is natural, not supernatural. And here comes the closing message from the guides.
It's interesting what a person believes in, for it's your beliefs that determine your presence and your confidence in life. Just because you believe something doesn't mean you are confident about it happening any more than owning a piano or a guitar makes you a musician. People read too much into ownership of stuff, believing that the more they get, the happier they'll be. It's like listening to your intuition and saying, that's nice, but I need more of it. It's what you do with your intuitive hits or experiences that makes them come to life. You can't just have the sense or the feeling and not do anything.
Right.
It's so important that when you hear or feel intuition come into your presence, that you ask, why? Why did that show up right now? What is in that intuitive message that I should be paying attention to? Next, once you figure out what it is, then ask yourself, What can I do about it? What are my options? If I wasn't supposed to do anything, then why did it show up? The future is ripe with limitless possibilities. We can't just show up and tell you what to do or send you an email. We send intuitive messages that you can choose to listen to or ignore. But the more you ignore the insight contained in the intuition, the less you will enjoy your life.
Right. And you guys, you can't see it when you're in it. You have to write it down. I'm telling you, this is a 4-step process. Write it down and then inquire within yourself how it makes you feel what you just wrote down. Only then, when you do that part of it right, how it felt, that's where the real uh, juicy truth is just waiting for you to discover it. This is where your truth is. And once you have that, bam, you're going to realize what it means. You're going to realize why you had that intuitive hit, what it means to you. And that's where the action happens. Those are the 4 qualifying questions in these journals. Follow them exactly like they're laid down. That's what it's designed to do. This will fire up your intuition faster than anything else because you can't see it when you're in it. I can't see it when I'm in it. I have to write it down too. I sit and I have a dream and I sit down and jot it down and I go, whoa. And then I have a conversation with my guides and they show me and tell me what was going on in that dream and explain it to me. I get my own little coaching sessions whenever I need them, They're always there for you, you guys. They always are. You can either learn to do this yourself, write in your journal so you can begin to understand what's going on and how it applies to you specifically, so you can act on it while it's still valid, because intuition has a shelf life.
And it has nothing to do with how smart you are or how many degrees you have. In fact, the more degrees you have, the more confused you may become about an intuitive hit.
Well, because you're so much in this world.
Right. You're trying to take that intuition and force it into what you know about this world. Force it about within the into the experiences that you've had before that showed up today.
This part will always be looking for evidence. And
Right.
that's where the intuition it's like a flower. There's a flower and it's getting all this water and sunlight and it's can breathe and it's really flourishing. Okay, the flower looks great until this starts. Okay, this doesn't feed the flower anything. It doesn't encourage the flower to grow. It doesn't water the flower. It doesn't nurture the flower. It doesn't appreciate the flower, because this is all it cares about, this world. Okay, so the intuition, it atrophies. It dwindles. You know, and that's where you feel it in your soul. You feel it in your heart. You feel it all through here. You feel that. You feel that defeat, that letdown, that sadness, that lost feeling. That is tragic. That needs to be written in your journal so you can get that out of here and put it on the pages and look at it out here and go, oh my God, what am I doing to myself? And I always tell you guys, Keep your guidance to yourself. Never, never share what you write in your journals. You know why? As soon as you do it, even one little bitty time you do it, you will never write the truth like you used to ever again.
Everybody will be judging you.
You can't ever do that.
Yeah.
These are you for you. This is the only way you're going to find yourself again and bring the fullness of everything you were when you first got here back into play.
Yeah. Personal transformation. That's what the journaling is about. Change and personal transformation. And most of the people that you know uh, could care less about your self discovery and
Not
how,
yours. They don't care about
how you're
yours.
going to change.
Yeah.
Because they don't want you to change.
Or they're suffering so much that they don't want you to leave them behind. Okay.
Right.
There's all kinds of reasons why. You guys don't even go there. Don't even test fate. Just don't do it, okay? Just focus on yourself, keep it to yourself, and do it every day. Do it every day. You're going to be having a conversation with yourself first and then with the divine. You're going to be surprised. You've got to do it every day. Just 15 minutes a day, and where there's no interruptions, there's no phones ringing, kids screaming, someone beating on your door trying to. If that's the case, get in your car, drive down the street a couple blocks where you can be left alone, okay, and find your peace for 15 minutes to invest in you.
Yeah.
It's going to be unbelievable.
You tell people what you're working on so you can become a better person, and number one, they don't believe you. They'll tell you things like, let's say you tell your family that as a child that you want to grow up to be a concert pianist, and they go, oh, you'll never be a concert pianist. You'll never be good enough to be a concert pianist. Yeah, you can take some lessons, but you'll never go anywhere with it. And until they come to your first recital at Carnegie Hall or wherever, do they even believe that you could do it? You believed you could do it.
You know why? Because they can't.
Right.
So you can't. Your family member. I mean, you can't do that. Okay, don't even test fate. Okay, I never tested. I never did. I learned how not to do that from the time I was a kid, and I never let them know who I really was or what I was really feeling. I never let them know. This is where I spent my energy in that regard, and that's where I got my guidance all the time. You guys, it's just a matter of doing it. You're going to see it, you're going to experience it, and you're going to be blown away. It's so easy. It's natural, not supernatural. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. Just stay with that. You guys, we will see you guys next Tuesday. We love you guys.
Good night, everybody.
You are never alone and always being guided.